Let's start with gastrointestinal hormones. We have three type of families. Gastrin. Gastrin means gastric families. In stomach family. We have secretin family. Secretin means, base. Okay, HCO3, right? Nature's anti-acid. Other is motilin, right? For the movement. Guanine is also, and peptide YY and ghrelin for the hunger. So here you can see this is a schematic drawing of our GI tract, esophagus, pancreas, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. This is duodenum. So here is G cell. It means they make gas. They have it's a G cell. They make gastrin. Gastrin leads to HCl. There is I cell. So I comes from intestine. Usually, I think I from intestine cells. Duodenal origin causes contraction of gallbladder. What is it? It's cholecystokinin, right? Do you remember this hormone called cholecystokinin? Cholecystokinin, pancreozymin. It's a cool name, right? So cholecystokinin, pancreozymin, this is actually responsible for the contraction of gallbladder. And as we know that gallbladder stores a lot of bile, and bile comes from liver. Now there's a question, right? I really thought about it, that why would we even need liver in first place? Oh, sorry. I mean, why would we need gallbladder? We have liver, right? Liver is the production house for these bile juice. Yes. Why do we even need? And as much as I know from this GIT physiology, I know that gallbladder stores a lot of bile. Okay. Well, answer to this amazing question is that first let's try to understand what liver does and what gallbladder does. Okay, now we know that liver makes a lot of bile. How much exactly? Around 1 liter a day. Okay, but gallbladder doesn't make shit. I mean, gallbladder doesn't make bile. So what's the use? The use is storage. The use is concentration. The concentration of bile is usually around 97% water, right? It's 97% water and usually goes to 87% water when it is in gallbladder. But when it is in liver, the concentration is, it's not really concentrated. That's what I'm trying to say. So bile gets concentrated in gallbladder. Oh, so why? But it concentrates, it releases it. Why can't we just have one liver that does it, right? Why can't we just have one liver that does everything, right? Why do we even need one another organ, right? So the thing here is that gallbladder actually does all of these things together, right? Between meals, it stores bile. Instead of letting it drip wastefully into duodenum, it stores it up, right? And when we eat any fatty food or any sort of protein or fatty food, this hormone called cholecystokinin, pancreozymin, it goes and it contracts this gallbladder, and even this hormone goes and open up this sphincter of Oddi, right? I hope we remember that sphincter of Oddi. This CCK, it simultaneously goes. CCK relaxes this sphincter of Oddi, right? And it releases this bile from that gallbladder, right? So what happens is that why the liver cannot just store more bile? It's a good and valid question. I think it's a good question. So to answer of this, according to me, is that liver, I think the structure of liver cannot afford a lot of storage, because hepatocytes, right? These hepatocytes are very densely located, right? I think they don't have a lot of storage, functional storage unit. Second is the system, how this bile is made. Not bile, how the design of liver is. Because bile, the flow of liver is like the bile canuculi, then bile ducts, and then common hepatic duct, and then the flow continues, right? Now there is no reservoir in this bile, right? And if bile, imagine if bile is starting to back up, it would cause a lot of pressure. And what will happen? A lot of pressure will result in jaundice, and a lot of pressure will result in this injury, right? because this bile buildup can actually cause this jaundice, right? So again, the bile concentration, I don't think liver can do it, because gallbladder actively absorbs Na, sodium, and water, and it concentrates bile up to 10 times, right? That means gallbladder can deliver a powerful small volume dose of bile, right? But liver's bile is very dilute, okay? So that's very important as well. And I think in animals that eat irregularly or high fat meals, such as us, or maybe lions or carnivorous animals, the gallbladder is crucial for bolus fat digestion, okay? But in contrast with some deer, some horse, some vegetarian animal, I think they don't need any gallbladder, and maybe that's why they have no gallbladder. So their bile flows constantly, matching their continuous feeding. So the people who have gone under the surgery of removal of gallbladder due to some stones, due to some obstruction, they should avoid a lot of high fat meals, because they cannot process it. I mean, they can process it because they have bile, but the concentration of bile is not as strong as the concentration of bile that it could have been, right? So in short, I think that is one of the very good topic to understand. So the function of gallbladder is to concentrate it. That's it. Okay. Okay. So that was a big introduction. Okay.